Back to Hungarian Spice. I'm gonna do episode 3, Transformations. So the main plot of this movie is that Rosemary accidentally damages a thorn. Or some shit. This movie is probably gonna be the worst episode so far. This is the probably the first time that the show attempts to get into more serious subjects. We don't go on cheesecake lockets or a potion instruct no or any twisted potion instructor anymore. This this decides to talk about trans issues. My God, this can go so well, can it? Actually, no, it's not. How they deal with trans people is the tip of is the first layer of this awful, disgusting episode. I've been procrastinating, right? I actually been detesting this episode ever since I first started watching Hungarian Spice. And there is no story. It's just three subplots stitched together to make one story. Rosemary damages her sword, called Flowering Thorn, and Sage is practicing magic when she accidentally makes her pet into a monster. And Parsley banging a hammer. Well, predictable I can be. I totally very like 3/4 of this episode comes to parts that has subplots. Because again, it's only three subplots stitched together to make one story. It doesn't make any advancement to the main one. It's not as good as the other A plot. Good with the other plots, but still, Parsley's plotline, Parsley's subplot is pointless, absolutely filler. Nothing to do with the show whatsoever. Gets a hammer that isn't even used throughout the entire series, which doesn't even make any sense. Rosemary's subplot isn't that much better either. Not only does it go through the backstory about Lavender, but also reveals that Caraway is a trans. I'm not trying to be transphobic or anything, but how they portray it here is absolutely atrocious. Sages foreshadows the plot line of the entire show. The other plots do not get the screen time they need. All come across as very rushed, but I will talk to them some parts of it. Again, like most of the episodes here, it's poorly shot and horribly edited. There are there are some shots between like Parsley running in the hallway. We cut to Sage's subplot. Like pick one or the other. There is like so much to do with this thing. So for some sorts, which leads to the horrendous cinematography. Cut to someone else. Parsley falls down a hole. Oops, she fell down the hole. We cut to someone else. But when we do cut back, it makes us think that she like some gangster knocked her out with a bat or something. But when Parsley's running from a direction, you cut to someone else who apparently thinks they're the main character when mostly they don't act like the main character, and then cut back to Parsley. This makes us think she was in the fucking back rooms or some sort. But she's actually running in a fucking straight line. And also barely took like I don't know how long this thing, but it turns out how atrocious the pacing is. Parsley's took hours to complete, probably. Like, Rosemary's took a whole hour, and Sage's plot just they just didn't even try with Sage's subplot. That's because the screenplay all community and all communicate with each other, but it doesn't work because it turns out to be atrocious. This is one of the worst episodes of the show, and Problem. The average scene count for a 22 a minute episode like most of these is 15. This more. I don't know. It's like so many changing scenes at an average of every 45 seconds. I don't know why. You all say, oh yeah. Now we get Professor. Now we met a guy named Professor Billy Goat, who gives Parsley a hammer and tells her that the entire world is a nail. Bruh. You can't even. Portrait, you do that with your hands, not a hammer. The hammer can damage your frame, the picture frame. I hang up. Imagine like this: I hang up a picture on my wall, and I nail the onto the wall. It makes a bigger mess, and the picture falls down. That's basically the same thing. I can easily compare it to this. There are room. I suppose the fact that the teacher was brings me to the fact that there was, and I don't know if this is a twist villain, and there was no, and surprisingly there was no twist villain here, unlike the last one. I cannot trust any of the teachers, especially because of the last one that was almost responsible for the death of a student. So Parsley opens up a secret passageway and then falls down the hall. I don't know how many floors she would fall down if she were able to jump off a building. Accidentally fall off a building. There was a good chance that the height could have killed her. Especially if she landed on that specific item. Even if she didn't land on an item, she could have broken her bone. And surprisingly not, I don't know if we even see a hospital in this episode. Makes no sense. Yeah, I know it's a cartoon, but injuries should at least mean something. In an episode later on, Sage nearly dies from falling. Heights are heights even a threat, or are they not? So people have fears of heights for no reason, I guess. Billy Goat has no way to tell if Parsley got lost or otherwise hurt down there. Probably looked like probably skipped class to go to a fun place like Dave and Buster's or something. But nope, Parsley decides to randomly discover and then explore a cave. A cave! The show calls these traps full with these types of genetic bugs named trappers. Which are basically just like Pokemon pair insects. But except trappers glow and most insect Pokemons don't glow. Unless if you have a shiny one. If you can't figure this out, Billy Goat had too much confidence in Parsley. Actually, no. The favorite part of the subplot that has nothing to do with the transformations. It has nothing to do with trans people. Okay, 30 seconds into Sage's subplot, and we already got problems. Lots and lots and lots of them. Anyone who knows, if you know anything, if you are an expert at fantasy, because when you're learning to write fantasy, do not have a magic part that has no cost. No exceptions. If you put a magic system that has no cost, you lose, and your data will be erased. New magic is basically where every character lives in a post-scarcity society, because no one needs to work or get money because magic exists. It's like they're in fucking Minecraft creative mode. Thank God there was no reference to Minecraft in this episode. Thank God. Even though I like Minecraft, but still. They're even more of an idiots because magic thinks they can do anything for them at no cost, at no consequences, because, as per what Sage even says in the first place. And again, her being an idiot because he says that she would want some cinnamon. That's another cost. Literally everything almost here costs money. Do they not? And there is there is an actual plot. It's in fact there was a rock, that is infecting a tree, which makes Time very, very sad. She would tell us why she's sad, but nope. We have to go to Parsley subplot. it's not something that it's not something they would outright state, but that's something to do something that would go into more details for some sort. They could have done it in this sole season, or they could have made episode 2, and I would have done more of these types of episodes next year. New magic. It seems to be a half-baked or slightly rushed part for industrialization. Everyone's using magic that does things so much better and kind of no money and without any consequences whatsoever before it actually reaches to that point. I'm none parts of it is ever stated. It's what you could it's what you piece together like if you wanted to create a Frankenstein. There is an eternal life, even the secret to a forever lot to live forever in Hungarian Spice is a first year student textbook. The show gives out baffling lore drops, like your Halloween average trick or treat Halloween candy. In the world of Hungarian Spice, death is optional. So again, they're very lucky. They get to live forever, while we only get to live to our 70s. These almost, or higher if you're super healthy. Makes no sense. I know it's a fictional fantasy, but still. I mean, gives him a So Nebucat, a cat named Nebucat, who's absolutely stupid. So the cat gets outside the bag. Oh, no idiom intended to do so, and the main ones chase him into the courtyard. I guess no teachers are gonna look. Or probably teachers are probably be looking out the window. No, it's like, yep, this is totally fine, I guess. Or are they next to the window, which they can't even. If they did, they'd probably have soundproof for a guess. And Amaryllis actually asks a good question. Why is she even here? I don't know. It's bad. And trust me, guys, Amaryllis is the main character now, not Rosemary. Amaryllis. And Sage thinks it's dead, but nope. It has a napping. Time uses an arrow, which puts them unconscious. Arrows that and their sharp ends are put to a potion where put them to sleep, but cannot kill them, even if it accidentally pierces a lung or a heart. So Navicat accidentally stabs a tree and gets shot. Makes a sense. How can cats stab a tree? So like this. I just holy god shit, guys! I found a cat that just picked up a knife out of nowhere and just went to a tree to stab it, trying to cut down the tree, but it doesn't work because it's a gut, and it turns to be infected like it's a real life person. Sage actually confronts Amaryllis, and then Snapdragon again has a crush on Sage. This makes no sense. So apparently you get started just because of Sage confronting Amaryllis. I never even knew this was going to be a thing until now. Wasn't this about cat attacks and dwarves catching insects? Or troppers or whatever the shit they are? 2 subplots, then one that we don't even give a shit about. Oh god, Rosemary's subplot. I'm not even done yet. She accidentally breaks the pommel on her mom's sword, called Flowering Thorn. We learn in an episode we will get to in a bit that the blade is canted to never break, but it somehow breaks here. Is it because we all know because with the sword broken into like pieces is still usable to defend yourself against other people to others. Makes total sense. And Caraway thinks that it served a war a broke. Caraway thinks that a broken weapon thing lets us know that it served its true purpose. No, no, no. It needs to be fixed. If it probably replaced for most of them because I don't think most of them are even repairable from the start, unless you tape them together. Rosemary cries, says it right in front of Sage, her best friend in the world. Like, you can say that Sage is a probably tolerable character in this first 3 episodes, but nope, we get to the worst episodes in upcoming futures. You would still have to deal with the. If you wanted to ignore Sage, though, after the confrontation toward Amaryllis she just did, you still have to deal with the whole cheesecake locket thing. We don't even talk about that shit. That thing doesn't even matter to Rosemary now. Oh yeah, and spoiler alert, the cheesecake locket is never seen again after the first episode. They don't even watch each other. I don't think the writers watched the first episode because there is no continuity in High Guardian Spice. Like the acting for the young people is absolutely atrocious. The girl who played young Rosemary is absolutely disgusting and horrendous. Rosemary's basically over dramatic. You know there is a degree in sarcasm in her voice, but in this moment, she really does think she botched who ruined her mother's reputation by breaking the pommel on her sword. Because this Rosemary wouldn't even use the words until this episode. Did I mention the show does nothing in this episode? Like these episodes gets worse and worse and worse. Oh, then Time says she's on her way to archery. Get it? Time's an elf, not the Christmas one. Elves use bows. They don't need any more character other than that. Fucking plot device. Elf is an archer. End of story. So Lavender has to go off to war. But what war? The Vietnam? Hell no. No. Caraway is walking so fast. He's practically running and then things slows down before the girls actually address what's happening. He wants to specifically talk to Rosemary about her choice for everything hours, which we don't get any which are basically activities they do or some sort of elective or something. We don't know what goes on with them. He's friends with it's even if you do, it's not like oh yeah, they're in the fucking Godfather. They were part of a crime family. Makes total sense. He, Caraway doesn't even give Rosemary any tutorship later on specialized classes. He just wants to know what everything hours activity she picks, and that's it. What nice conversation. Not really. They don't even have another conversation until the rest of the series. This whole thing would have made a lot more sense if Rosemary confronted Caraway. I mean, Caraway is an expert magic user. Rosemary could be pointed in his direction. We don't see, and no surprise, Caraway actually attended High Guardian Academy. And Caraway immediately says he's transgender. Like, it feels like we're watching Caraway's probably explaining to the audience and not toward the characters. Because again, Rosemary's dialogue isn't even that good either. Rosemary, I would have told you Rosemary is dumb from the start and the end. And keep in mind, main protagonists are strong and smart. Do not have the IQ of Patrick Star. Caraway claims that he was born into a female body, but it wasn't the right body for him. Okay, then how does that work? I'm not trying to be transphobic or anything, but still. And still, this episode tries to do so much. It has three subplots to make one story, but it doesn't even doesn't work. But even Rosemary's tries to do so much. Tries to bring depth, tries to bring chemistry to Lavender and Caraway, and establishing their friendship and help prove Rosemary show Rosemary in a specific direction in her education and a lot more. This thing is rushed. Although we do get a backstory with Caraway and Lavender fighting a Manicore that ends up showing the pommel of the sword being broken back then too. Huh, makes total sense. But again, Lavender breaking the sword herself is not that important now, nor is it even deep. This one line of this dialogue over here is absolutely atrocious. The backstory is yet another waste of time of episode. We could have at least put more information for the backstory. You could have still have your action scenes while doing that by taking by showing your actual credibility of fantasy. A monster could curse Caraway by changing his sex, which actually makes more sense. You can also go to a backstory about searching for a cure that Caraway doesn't want, as wants less and less as time goes on. Require more screen time than the plot currently got, but yeah, just X Parsley out. She doesn't do anything in this episode other than just fall down a hole and get injured into a cave and get injured. And don't get injured. And she's perfectly fine. Makes total sense. God. Anyway, episode 3 is the worst episode from Hygarian Spice so far. We barely get to see any of the trans stuff until the end of the episode. Anyways, I give this thing a 1 out of 10 or an F minus. Fuck this episode. Anyways, see you on episode 4 in April. Thank you for watching and go subscribe.